Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the June 6, 2017 Board of Directors meeting. Our chair is not with us tonight, and our clerk is away, although he's going to be coming in by remote access. But in the meantime, we'll need to appoint a chairman. Could I have a motion for chair, please?
I move that Mr. Tropiano be appointed Chair Pro Tem.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Needs to be a roll call, please.
Oh, yes, it is a roll call.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes, everything's a roll call with him.
Alan?
Alan?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
All right, so I'm the chair. I need a motion for clerk, please.
You need to make the motion.
Make the motion.
Oh, motion for
Lady Godiva.
Judy.
Judy.
Okay. I have a motion for Jody to be clerk. Do I hear a second?
Second by necessity.
Oh, Alan can second. Alan?
Okay, Alan?
Alan?
Yes.
Can you second?
Yes.
Judy? Thank you. Okay, so I now have a motion and a second. Roll call again. Tony?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Patrick, yes. She's unanimous. Okay, Madam Clerk. All right, could I have a roll call, please?
This evening, we have no Mr. Bowen, no Mr. Titlebaum. We do have Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Slavin by remote, because we do have a quorum in the room of the Selectmen. He is allowed to participate. Mr. Scarsiotti, Mr. Tropiano, and Mrs. Whiteside are present.
Okay. All right, great. I'm going to just make everybody understand that all of the votes, because we have remote access, will be done by roll call tonight. So it takes a little bit extra, but it's the way we have to do it. Announcements.
How about pledge?
Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, yeah, we pledge of allegiance. Let's do that. Let's see.
Swenson.
Mr. Sullivan. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now we'll do announcements. Mr. Slavin, do you have any announcements?
Yeah. I just want to thank everybody that came out for the training, for the veterans, also for the people that came out on, Monday, which was a miserable day. They came to the 9 different, funerals, cemeteries, et cetera, that we went to, to again, salute the veterans. That's it.
All right, great.
All set.
Mr. Scarsiotti's all set?
I have several, thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Yes. On Thursday, June 8th, and again on June 15th at noon, noted local pianists Kirk and Marilyn Whipple of Cranberry Coast Concerts will be performing free concerts at the Eastern Bank on Main Street. Congratulations to Liz Malloy, who is a graduate of Wareham High School. She's also a graduate of the URI Peace Corps Prep program, which is it's a new program, but it's a fabulous program to help kids understand the rest of the world. And if you can do that, you're a better man than I. The Moving Wall is still looking for volunteers as well as money donations. You may visit their website, friendsofwarehamveteranscouncil.com. That will give you the dates of August 17th through the 21st and the ways that you can help bring this magnificent community effort to Wareham. On June 8th at 1 o'clock in the community room in this building, Sister Louise Connors, RN BSN, a sister of St. Joseph of Boston, is going to be talking to seniors about keeping active with volunteer work and aging with humor. I think we all do that anyway. But anyway, show up, it'll be a good day. And I just want to remind people that today is the 43rd anniversary of D-Day. On D-Day, there were 73,000 Americans landed on the shores of the banks of Normandy. There were 156,000 men landed total. 4,400 of them died in that day. We all call it D-Day, but officially it was Operation Overlord. The beaches they landed at, including the Allies, were Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword. The United States Cemetery is at Omaha. In the next 5 days from D-Day, there were 11,590 aircraft sent as support, 325,000 troops, 54,000 vehicles, and 104,000 tons of supplies. In the cemetery at Normandy, there are 9,387 Americans buried. 411 of them were from Massachusetts.
Thank you. Citizens' comments. Anybody here to speak to us this evening? No? Okay. Appointments, reappointments, and interviews.
I have a constable appointment, sir.
Thank you.
The paperwork is in order for Robert E. Short of 2 Foundry Circle, West Wareham, and I don't see him here.
Is that your motion?
Yes, my motion is to appoint Robert E. Short, 2 Foundry Circle, West Wareham, Mass., to a constable for the town of Wareham to a term to expire no later than June 30th, 2018.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Roll call. Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes, it's unanimous. Okay, we're going to jump down to C, under Section 7, and take requests from Paul Rose for 4 one-day liquor licenses.
Okay.
Is he here?
No, we get these regularly from him, and the paperwork is all in order, so.
Okay,
Okay.
then go ahead and make the motions.
Move that the town of Wareham grant to Paul Rose, 4 Gibbs Ballpark Road, Onset, a special license for the sale of all alcoholic beverages to be drunk on the premises under Chapter 138, Section 14 of the Liquor Control Act. The date would be June 10th, 2017, from noon to 7 p.m. The license, this is to be held at the Onset VFW Pavilion. The stipulation is that no alcoholic beverages to be consumed on town property, and also understanding that there are 2 sets of liquor, okay?
2 separate.
Mhm.
Yep. All right, I have a motion
Second.
and a second by Mr. Scasiotti. Roll call vote, Mrs. Whiteside. Mr. Slavin.
I said.
Yes.
I heard you say yes.
Yes.
Mr. Scasiotti, Mr. Tropiano, it's unanimous, 4-0-0. Next.
Yep. Yes, dear. Sorry.
Get that mic up.
Okay. I move that Paul Rose, 4 Gibbs Ballpark Road, Onset, Mass., be granted a special license for the sale of all alcoholic beverages to be drunk on the premises under Chapter 138, Section 14 of the Liquor Control Act for June 11th, 2017, from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., to be held in the Onset VFW Pavilion. Stipulation, no alcoholic beverages to be consumed on town property, and also to understand that there's a separate liquor cabinet for these it's a graduation party, so.
Second.
Second by Mr. Scasiotti. Roll call, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
Yes.
Yes.
Scasiotti, Mr. Tropiano, yes, 4-0-0.
My next one is for a Father's Day event on June 18th. Motion to grant Paul Rose, 4 Gibbs Ballpark Road, Onset, Mass. A special license for the sale of all alcoholic beverages to be drunk on the premises under Chapter 138, Section 14 of the Liquor Control Act. June 18th, 2017, from noon to 8 p.m., to be held at the Onset VFW Pavilion. The stipulation continues to be no alcoholic beverages to be consumed on town property. There's an understanding that the liquor sold at this event or used at the event is owned by Mr. Rose as opposed to the VFW.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Again, Ms. Whiteside?
Yes.
Mr. Slavin?
Yes.
Mr. Scasiotti?
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes, 400.
And one more. Fundraiser, a poker run on June 24th. So I make a motion to grant Paul Rose, 4 Gibbs Ballpark Road, Onset, Mass., a special license for the sale of all alcoholic beverages to be drunk on the premises under Chapter 138, Section 14 of the Liquor Control Act. June 24th, 2017, from noon to 8 p.m., to be held in Onset VFW Pavilion. Stipulation, no alcoholic beverages to be consumed on town property, and again, the stipulation of the separation of the liquor being served.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Ms. Whiteside?
Yes.
Mr. Slavin?
Yes.
Mr. Scasiotti?
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes, 400. All right, we'll move on to request from My Team Triumph for a one-day liquor license.
Okay, thank you. Is there somebody here from my team and Triumph?
Come on
You
down.
want to step forward, please? Yes, please.
Thanks.
Could you identify yourself for the record?
My name is Mary Nogueras. I run the Massachusetts chapter for My Team Triumph.
And can you explain what that is, please?
It is a local chapter of a nonprofit organization that helps kids, adults, and with disabilities to participate in road races and triathlons.
Excellent, okay. And you are going to have an event on June 18th, 2017?
Yes, ma'am.
And you have gotten all of the approved authorizations. Do you have any questions of us?
No.
Okay, thank you. I move that My Team Triumph of Post Office Box 3168, Bourne, Mass. 02532, be granted a license for June 18th, 2017. Would be a special license. The authorized hours of sale from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. The licensed premises is Wareham Crossing, 2421 Cranberry Highway, Wareham. The license is for the sale of beer and wine. The licensed activity or enterprise is nonprofit.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
pretty broad place. I mean, that whole complex, I mean,
Yeah, so what it is, it's a road race, and at the end of the road race, Mayflower Brewery will be on site giving beer to our runners.
yeah, but we gotta have it contained. We can't have them.
It's just at a section of Wareham Crossing by behind the Red Robin by the beach pad over there.
All right, so it needs to be roped off or something. We can't have,
Yeah, that's that little sort of squared off.
It is a little.
yeah, we gotta have it delineated somehow. So you have to
It is.
delineate it somehow so that people just can't walk in and out of there. I mean, there'll be young children and everybody shopping over there at the same time that you're having your road race.
Oh, no, so the parking lot between the beach pad and Home Goods by, I think it's a burrito place, that area is kind of blocked off for our...
So you put something around it?
Yes.
So you'll
yes.
have a rope around it or something to contain it?
Kind of. It's little barricades, not a rope, but yes, it's
Well,
kind
but
of...
the little,
yes.
like police-style barricades?
Yes, similar, like the, yeah,
All right,
construction.
so as long as,
barricades.
Yeah, that's okay, as long as it's blocked off somehow so that you have control over people coming and going. You can't have underage drinkers in there, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
So you need to control that.
Maybe you could answer how many people would be there, how many adults would be there managing this program?
So we have Wines and More and Mayflower Brewery who are managing the beer. They're doing their ID check. And then Wareham Crossing is taking the lead for the post-race block party. So they will
Okay.
have, it's a staffed event.
So this is at this specific location and not the whole complex, just this area that you're setting aside?
Correct.
Okay, so you might want to add that this the
Okay,
stipulation.
right in front of what?
It's right behind Red Robin, right?
Behind Red Robin, and there's South Coast Health, so that parking
There's that
lot.
little square area right there. There is an area that's sort of separated there.
A little beachy theme
It's a
type.
little beach thing and all that, so yeah, as long as it's contained.
Yeah, they
You
have
can't have kids
skeletons.
walking through grabbing stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's
I think they had a bunch of pirate skeletons out there for Halloween.
Okay, so, okay. There are actually 3 things that need to be signed on this one, gentlemen.
That's fine.
I move that the town of Wareham grant a special license to My Team Triumph. Did I already do this? No.
No,
Post Office Box 3168, Bourne, Mass. 02532.
you got so far and then I kind of interrupted,
okay.
sorry.
June 18th, 2017, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Wareham Crossing, 2421 Cranberry Highway, behind the South Coast Urgent Care and Red Robin in the, we'll call it the rowboat area, okay? The sale is, licenses for the sale of beer and wine. The activity is nonprofit, and all of the paperwork is in order.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Roll call vote, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
Yes,
Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes. It's unanimous, 400. Thank you very much.
7:15 hearing, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much. You can probably pick it up tomorrow in the Selectmen's office.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a hearing at approximately 7:15 on the application for Little Harbor Country Club, Inc., Kenneth D. D'Rienzo.
Di Rienzo.
D. Rienzo, is that how you say it? Come on down. Manager for alteration of the premises of an existing year-round common vicular all-alcoholic beverage license under provisions of Chapter 138, the Massachusetts General Laws for the year of 2017. Welcome. Could I have somebody open the hearing, please?
I move to open the hearing for the application from Little Harbor.
Motion made by Ms. Whiteside.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Roll call, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
yes,
Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes. All, 400, the hearing is now open. Okay, so tell us what you want to do.
Basically, we are applying for a license to sell alcoholic beverages out on the golf course using a beverage cart.
Okay, now, the only one thing about this was, we had talked about the last time, and see if everybody remembers, is you can't cross a public way.
Right.
We've applied for a transportation license, and we have been approved for it to use that beverage cart to go across public ways.
You've applied for a transportation license?
Yep.
Do you have the?
Does
I'm
anybody
sorry.
know about this?
Yes, it's in front of us.
Yeah,
Could you
I
tell
did
me what you
provide
have there, Ms.
copies to
Whiteside?
Yes.
everybody.
Okay, hold on.
Can we just, where's the rest of the, I need the documents on My Triumph. Did I just send it that way?
Wait, it's right here.
Please, I don't want to get, there are 3 pages that you need to send, Jonathan.
Oh, okay. Did you get all 3? I only see 2.
There's one further back. I had it turned
Did
sideways.
the thing fall off?
I don't know.
I didn't see
It's
anything
not
else
that
to
far to
sign.
the end, honey.
I don't see it, honey.
It's right.
Oh, right in here.
Thank you.
There you go. That was the 3rd page. Okay, so you want to tell us what you have with his,
Yep.
with this transportation thing? Because I have not heard of this. It's the first I'm hearing about
Thank you.
permission to cross a public way.
The Public hearing was held, and all except 3 people signed for the green cards.
Yeah.
And you may have one more that came in
We did
today?
just have one that came in.
Okay. May I have those, please, sir? Yep, thank you. Yep. This is the license that is being applied for. So I'll let you read it.
All right, so I'm holding a thing from the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission hereby grants a transportation and delivery permit, vehicle plate number Cart 1, right, to Little Harbor Country Club, Inc., related license, ABC license, it just has your liquor license number down. No person under the 18 shall be permitted to handle, transport, or deliver any alcoholic beverage under this permit. So basically, that's what this is. It's a permit from them allowing him to cross the road, basically.
Yep.
So do you have a specific crossing point?
Yes, there is one.
It doesn't say that on the sheet.
It's right here.
Oh, you got another thing. So there's a specific,
Yes.
so you've given a sort of a pathway across. Is that what they've given you?
Yeah, throughout the premises, we have multiple points where we have crosswalks where people cross the street, and it's at those points that we've been
Okay.
told we're allowed to take the.
All right, this is the first I've heard of this, and it's fine with me. I mean, we want you to be able to do this, but at least I do. We haven't voted yet. At least I do. It's just that, okay, so I see what they got.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this was the change, Patrick. Public ways may intersect, interrupt, or divide the grounds of the golf course for which approval is sought. The commission will approve a single license to cover that portion of the grounds of a golf course that lies across a public way,
Okay.
provided the licensee applies for and receives, yada, yada, yada.
That's fine. I just want to make sure that everybody knows out there, because, there'll be people making phone calls.
Really?
It's inevitable.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's inevitable you'll get those phone calls. Okay. All right, so what's your pleasure? First,
to
this is a
close-
public hearing.
Yeah.
So is there anybody here to speak for the applicant? Anybody to speak against the applicant? All right, seeing that, I'll move to close the public hearing by somebody, please.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Whiteside,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Roll call vote, Ms. Whiteside?
Yes.
Mr. Slavin?
Yes,
Yes.
Mr. Scasiotti, Mr. Tropiano, yes, 400. Okay, what's your pleasure, folks?
Okay, I think that we have to do, okay. I move that the application from Little Harbor Country Club, Inc., Kenneth D. Rienzo, manager for an alteration of premises of an existing year-round common vic all alcoholic beverage license under the provisions of Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws for the year 2017. The premises is described as a one-story building with main lounge, porch, pro shop, locker, restrooms, attic, and storage room with office, 4 entrances and exits. Also before us is the already granted by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission transportation and delivery permit for a golf cart number 1 owned by Little Harbor Country Club, Inc. To transport, it's a
Through the
19th hole being driven around, basically. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I think that was okay for the motion, but I'm not sure.
All right. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Any more discussion? Roll call, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
yes.
Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes, 400. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Don't forget to pick this up tomorrow, Ken.
Next, we have another hearing at approximately 7:20 on the application of a transfer of Shellfish Grant Number 84 from G. Michael Bessie and John R. Nelson to G. Michael Bessie and Dale A. Bessie. Are they here?
Yes, Mr.
Come
Bessie
on
is.
down.
How are you, Michael?
Very good. You?
I'm fine, thank you. Would you identify
How you
yourselves
doing?
for the record, please?
My name is Michael Bessie, 39 Robinwood Road in Onset, holder of license Grant 84.
How's it all going?
very good.
All right, could I have a
Wait a
motion to
second, and
open the
you're-
public hearing, please?
You're,
I'm Dale A. Bessie of 53 Ryder
okay,
Street.
thank you. I move that we open a hearing on the application for a transfer of Shellfish Grant 84 from G. Michael Bessie and John R. Nelson to G. Michael Bessie and Dale A. Bessie.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
Roll call, Ms. Whiteside, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin?
Yes,
Mr. Scasiotti?
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes, 400. All right, now, gentlemen, if you would just give us your names for the record, for the official record,
G. Michael Bessie.
okay?
And Dale A. Bessie.
All right, thank you. All right, so what's your pleasure here? What were you planning on doing?
The reason for
Just-
the transfer request is the death of the other holder of
Oh,
the,
that's sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was submitted with the request, death certificate
Okay.
from Mr. Nelson.
All right,
and all of the paperwork is in order, and Mr.
all right.
Harbor
Is there
Master.
anybody here to speak for the applicant? Anybody? All right, make note that
Mr.
had spoke for the...
Barrows has supported or spoken in favor of the application of,
Anybody to speak against the applicant? Seeing none, I'll ask that we close the public hearing.
so moved.
Motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded
Second.
by Mr. Scasiotti. Is there any more discussion?
No, you need to roll call, I'm sorry.
Ms. Whiteside,
Yes.
Mr. Slavin,
yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Scasiotti, Mr. Tropiano, yes, 400.
Okay,
The
now
hearing
I
is
will
now
move,
closed. What is your pleasure, madam?
move to transfer Shellfish Grant 84 from G. Michael Bessie and John R. Nelson to G. Michael Bessie and Dale A. Bessie.
All right.
Second.
I have a motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
I'm going to point out to you, sir, that there's a misspelling on the front page, and it says mine to, not mine it. Would you please initial that?
I will.
Thank you.
There'll be a Scribner error. We'll make the
Yep.
correction. All right. Roll
I'm-
call. Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
Yes,
Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, it's 400. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll get
Bessie,
that.
could you sign this, could you initial this right now, bud?
That's the one that will make the corrections.
Just put your initials right there. It is Minot, right? Minot and Weld. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, next up is proclamation for Race Amity Day.
Yes.
Ms. Whiteside, please.
Did we do a roll call vote on that one? Did we do a roll call on that one?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did it. We're
We have a
good.
proclamation for Race Amity Day. Our speed reader is not here, so I guess it's me.
You're it.
Town of Wareham, 54 Marion Road, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571. A proclamation. Whereas Massachusetts supports the Great Seal of the United States of America, which bears the inscription E pluribus unum, which translates from Latin as out of many, one. And whereas House 2743, Chapter 163 of the Acts of 2015 of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts establishes the second Sunday in June annually as Race Amity Day, and whereas the greatest asset of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is its people, and whereas the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is comprised of multicultural, multi-ethnic, and multiracial citizens, and whereas friendship, collegiality, civility, respect, and kindness are commonly shared ideals of the collective citizenry of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and whereas the Towards E Pluribus Unum initiative has invited communities across the United States of America to join in introspection and reflection on the beauty and the richness of the diverse peoples of this great nation, while reaching out with a spirit of amity toward one another annually on the second Sunday in June. And whereas House 2745, Chapter 163 of the Acts of 2015 of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts establishes the second Sunday in June annually as Race Amity Day. Now therefore I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim June 11th, 2017 to be Race Amity Day, and urge all citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. In witness thereof, therefore, we, the Wareham Board of Selectmen, have hereunto set our hands and caused the official seal of the town of Wareham to be affixed this 6th day of June, 2017. Wareham Board of Selectmen, Peter Titlebaum, Chairman Alan Slavin, Clerk Patrick Tropiano, Judith Whiteside, Anthony Arscasiati.
All right. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Motion made and seconded to
We-
admit the proclamation. And we're going to take a vote to back it up. That's all. I think that that's appropriate,
Okay.
don't you? Typically, you just make a proclamation, but I think it deserves our support behind it, so I'm going to ask that we vote for it. I'm going to do it as a roll call as well. Ms. Whiteside?
Yes.
Mr. Slavin?
Yes,
Mr. Stasiati?
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes. So it's a 4-0-0. So we ask that you do as the governor requested and participate in every way that you possibly can. And thank you. All right, next up, discussion with the Dakota Partners. Come on down, gentlemen. All right, so... Okay, could you just have a seat? I gotta say something first before we move on, so for your edification. All right, so in order to have a quorum, it requires that all three of us are in the room. Okay, all three of us. Mr. Slavin, because he's not here, can be remote access only because the three of us are in the room. Unfortunately, I have a conflict here because, as you well know, or maybe you don't know, there is a lawsuit that will be pending between myself and the landowner that may affect the outcome of your project. And I need to stay in the room for this to happen. I would like to excuse myself and leave the room, but I can't. So out of necessity, I'm asking you to understand that and allow me to sit in the room for this discussion, although there will be no votes taken today, so that really won't affect your outcome with the board, okay?
Are you aware of that?
We were not,
No, we're not aware of that at all.
not aware of any.
Well, there is some problem that has to be ironed out. This goes back to before this project started.
I see. Yeah.
So there is a quorum present to hear your project. The two absent members actually have knowledge of the project presentations already. And so the three of us who are here this evening are listening. We will not be taking a vote, as Mr. Tropiano said. It is on the agenda for next week for further discussion and vote.
Okay, but we'd love you to give the presentation
Yes,
so everybody can
yes.
have, have the information, okay? And that way the people can have it as well,
Sure.
okay?
Certainly. Steve Kaminsky, a principal at Dakota, is here, and I don't hear any objections from
No.
either one of us, so.
Okay, great, thank you.
Is your,
Is that my machine, or is it?
It's not the slide. Try the next slide.
Got some dirt on that lens, huh?
Yeah, this.
It adds a nice effect.
You're fine. I know.
When I cry for people know.
So the time is yours, gentlemen. Go ahead and make your presentation.
Sure, we'll try to make it brief, and we appreciate the board's time tonight. We're here to introduce Woodland Cove. It's a housing development that we're looking at, and we started by submitting for 216 units to the state. It's been reduced to 174 units through some input and discussion in many of the town boards, and it's been quite helpful. So this is a rendering of a typical three-story building.
Reduce the lighting in the back, please.
Mr. Swenson, can you shut the lights up? Oh, thank you.
We even got them shutting off the lights for us.
Both of them? Yeah. Okay, great.
It's much better.
Yeah. So that's a typical vernacular of the architecture that we'll be using for the buildings throughout the site. Here's a description of the site itself. The red dotted line, of course, is the outline of the property, and this is an existing hotel on the property now. I believe it's a Starlight Hotel, is the name of it. And outside here, which is adjacent to the site, is an existing commercial establishment. I believe it's Hadley Boats, that's in front of the property. And across the street, this is the 7-Eleven site, so that you have the orientation.
I'm sorry, could you do the Hadley boats again?
Sure, this. This area here is the Hadley Boat site.
So that's not part of the property?
That's not part of the property.
Thank
So
you.
the property line goes right around
Yep.
behind it.
Thank you.
There's a picture of the motel located on the site, and the picture to the right is the Hadley Boatyard boat repair business. So as I stated, we started the submission with 216 units, and we've reduced it to 174. The site has several phases that we'll be constructing this in. Buildings 1 and 2, we consider phase 1. Buildings 3 and 4, we consider phase 2, and building 5 and 6 will be phase 3. Phase 1, what we've done is incorporated some market rate units financed through the workforce housing program. And phase 2, one of course is building 1 and 2. Phase 2 is 63 units, where there's an additional 10 market units financed through the housing tax credit program. And then phase 3, buildings 5 and 6, will be another 63 units, with 10 of those market finance through the housing tax credit program. So the implementation of those together result in 58 market units and 53 affordable units on the site.
Could you, excuse me for
Certainly.
interrupting you, but for the people who are watching, could you explain the difference between market rate and affordable housing, please?
Typically, market rate or unrestricted rents, and affordable housing can be a variety of restricted rents, different AMIs, 60%, 50%, 80%. In this case, some of the units will be restricted to 120% for the workforce housing program, and that is basically well in excess of what a market unit would go for anyway, so we portray them as market, and state would call them market as well. Anything above 100% AMI is typically a market rate unit.
Thank you.
Again, here's a picture of the 3-unit building, and that is the 4-unit building on site. And the project benefits are, of course, we have the redevelopment of the motel site. We have local preference that we can offer for Wareham residents and town employees. 40% of the market of the units are market rate, and 60% are affordable. The Gatra bus stop comes by, and we as Dakota will own it long-term. We hold our properties for 15 years plus. We hire the management companies, and we're responsible in a long-term effect for the property. So we always feel that's important to share and to go over with everyone.
I'm sorry. That you say redevelopment of a motel site. You really are talking about redevelopment of a site. You are not redeveloping the motel.
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct.
Right. I
Yes.
just want to make sure that everybody understands that.
Okay, the company is Dakota Partners. We're based in Waltham, Massachusetts. We've been in business since 2006. We do only multifamily housing, some condominiums, and a multifamily type of focus. Active in New England, solely in New England. Mainly do new construction of garden-style apartments and historic conversions of existing mill buildings and old factories. To date, our portfolio consists of a little more than 1,000 units. And we want to flip through some more slides that show the properties.
Could
This
you
was-
get, before you go, 1,000 units, how many of what type?
I couldn't break them down. I'd say it's probably 2/3 garden style and about 1/3 rehab.
No, I'm talking about market rate or affordable.
I'd probably do primarily affordable, probably let's say 60/40 or 70/30.
Thank you.
They all count as affordable, you know that, right?
This is Whitman Woods in Tingsboro, Mass., 120 units, garden style. This was our first affordable project. This is Laurel Hill in Brookfield, Connecticut. It's a very high income town. I think the average income is about $120,000. This is 100% affordable, done with the taxes and bond. There again, garden style apartments. Tenny Place, this is a project that's just half done now, 120 units, garden style. Probably about 80% affordable, 20% market. Half of it's done, and the second half is just beginning construction as we speak. Village Green is in Hyannis. It's off of, I think, Independence. It's 120 units. It's all affordable. Basically a 40B that we took over from a busted project. I believe it's nearly done now, and it's fully occupied. Barton Commons is a project that's probably 70% affordable, 30% market. It's located in New Milford, Connecticut. I think it's 40 units, and it's complete. Yarmouth Commons is our next project, 69 units on Route 128, the old Cavalier site. It's approved. It's waiting for financing. We expect it to start construction sometime next year. And you can see the buildings. There'll be 3 buildings similar to that. That's the building that will front Route 28. Might be it.
Yep.
That's all. Any questions?
Yes. In the ones that you're proposing for Woodland Cove, which you're calling Woodland Cove, roughly how many of them will be 1-bedroom, how many 2-bedroom, how many 3-bedroom, and are there any more than 3 bedrooms?
No, there's 32 1-bedrooms, 122 2-bedrooms, and 23 bedrooms.
Again, please?
32 1-bedroom, 122 2-bedrooms, and 23 bedrooms.
Okay, and the 1-bedroom would have 1 bath, the
That's correct.
2-bedroom would have?
2 baths, and the 3-bedroom would have 2 baths.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Anybody have any questions for them at all? I can ask if you have any questions. It's not gonna hurt anything.
No? Any questions from the people in attendance? It isn't? No, okay, yeah, it is. It's not, forget it. Alan, do you have any questions?
No, I spent about an hour and a half with the gentleman a little over a week ago going over everything. I'm satisfied.
Thank you. All right. As I told you earlier, we will be discussing this already on our agenda for next week for a discussion and a possible vote of a letter of support, which is, I think, what you're looking for.
Right. So I did talk to the state today. They asked me when you may be sending this letter in, with probably how many days after next week, do you think?
It's going to depend on when the chairman can pump it out, really. So,
A week?
yeah,
2
I
weeks?
wouldn't expect more than a week. And as part of this, what the board should know, we're also eligible for $15,000 to be able to help us mitigate any issues from the state. So.
All right,
Thank you.
Okay, great.
thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Request to place signs on town property. I
Yes.
do have one.
Okay,
Nope, I have 2.
And I am going to claim you guys broke the computer with the lighting up there.
The first one is from the Wareham Historical Society requesting approval to place banners and lawn signs on town property to promote its July 4th antique fair activities. The locations of the sign would be Main Street in front of Toby Homestead, next to the lighthouses in front of the police station on Route 28, the Town Green, Minot Avenue and Indian Neck Road, and in front of the Multi-Service Center. We understand that the signs cannot go up more than 2 weeks before the event and must come down within 24 hours after the event.
what's the event? I'm sorry.
The Historical Society 4th of July Antique Fair.
Okay, so that's your motion?
Yes, it is.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Any more discussion? Roll call, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
I have to abstain on this. I am running the car show, which is part of the antique fair.
Okay, fine. Mr. Scasiotti?
Yes.
Okay, myself, yes, so that will make it 301.
Thank you. The second one is the Wesley United Methodist Church at 462 Main Street, Wareham, Mass. Is requesting summer fair and luncheon for July 15th, 2017, 9 to 3 p.m. At the Wesley United Church at 462 Main Street. The 15th, as I said. Signs are being requested for the corner of Marion Road and Main Street, the corner of Great Neck and Minot, Main Street and Hathaway, and in front of the church at 462 Main Street.
All
I
right.
move that they be approved.
All right, so motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. All in favor, roll call, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
I just didn't have a discussion ahead of time. There tends to be an issue. I'm not picking on the group, but they have a tendency to put their sign right up against the stop sign on Main Street and where it comes down on Chapel there. And it's a distraction for people with a stop sign and stuff. It's kind of a safety issue. You really shouldn't have it, laying against the stop sign.
Okay,
So I
we'll
have no
make
problem
sure
with
that,
the sign, but there's
Okay.
certain things you really should be doing.
All right, so we'll make sure that they don't do that. Make the note and tell them about that.
I did. Thank you.
Okay. But are you in favor?
Yes.
Okay. Ms.
Yes.
Slavin, yeah, Mr. Scasiotti, yes, myself, yes. 400.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, accept the donation of a tree at Center Cemetery.
We have a citizen who has a mom buried in Center Cemetery Annex, and she would like to donate a tree to the town to be planted in the cemetery. And the Director of Municipal Maintenance has allowed that a tree would be a donation to the town, so we have to accept it as the Board of Selectmen. And the recommendation of the cemetery commissioners, a tree can be accepted with the stipulation that the tree cannot be a flowering tree. Any type of fruit tree is considered to be a high-maintenance type of tree and would not conform with the 4 other trees that are already planted in the area.
All right, so that's your motion? Mr.
It is a weird motion, but yeah.
It is a weird motion.
Second.
So it would be the,
Just accept
yeah,
the
just,
tree.
yeah.
Thank you. Second by Mr. Scasiotti. Roll call, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
Yes.
Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
Myself, yes, 400. Okay.
The, just sort of as a side and a heads up, and I'm sorry to interrupt, my understanding was the process was a bit onerous, so we may request of the the cemetery commissioners, I've got too many commissioners on the brain, just approve a certain number of types of trees that people can then check off, and
They're in
let's
the
make
process
it.
of that,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, that'd be.
That's fine. All right, next, any other town business not reasonably anticipated last 48 hours? Wouldn't be from you, sir. You should have done that during citizens' participation, sir. There's no place for you to fit in here, unfortunately.
No, I was actually on the Dakota one, but I didn't get a chance to.
It wasn't a hearing.
Wasn't a hearing, so there will be a hearing, though, at the zoning board. They'll- Yeah. Oh, and next week, if you come in during citizens' participation, you'll be able to comment because they're going to actually vote on it at that point. All
Okay.
right? Okay?
Then our meeting starts at 7 in this room.
Welcome, sorry.
Thank you.
All right, liaison reports. Ms. Whiteside?
Did you skip him?
I did skip him because he's not in here.
He is.
Oh, there he is, sorry. You are here. Town administrators report, let's do that.
I'm hurt.
I didn't see you down there. You were here.
Yeah. As you know, for the past roughly 2 years, I've served on the Mayflower Municipal Health Insurance Group on their finance committee. During the last board meeting, they did there's This group represents 32 employers, 7,600 subscribers, so it's a compliment in Wareham that they have representation on this board. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. Last week, we had Union Studios do their presentation in Tremont Nail, which was fantastic. And I tell you, there was a great group in there, a lot of discussion. So I appreciate that it's getting beyond the gasoline and matches to actually thinking of a of a future for the site. Yeah, that's yeah, but it's interesting to see where sort of people start turning from being completely negative on the project to seeing the potential and the future. So I also want to thank Mass Development. Without them, it certainly would not be possible. So we really appreciate all their efforts on behalf of the town. And Saturday was the first public outreach for the master plan. SERP had performed that. What I really am thankful for is Mr. Buckland and putting everything together, as well as going away from this, looking at almost, I don't know what it was, a 20, 30 member group, to actually paring it down to start thinking about how we'd get this done. So you're not worrying about all sorts of subcommittees. And there was Saturday meeting was interesting, and there was a lot of different perspectives, if you will, and it was probably the perfect way to show the dichotomy of a community. You have those that care about economic development, those that care about the environment, and often those types of things clashes. So that's what we're trying to see, is how do you merge us together towards the best path of the community. So I appreciate Mr. Buckland's hard work on that.
All right.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Now we'll go to liaison reports. And why don't we go to Alan? Because Alan, you're up.
Okay. First, just to piggyback with Derek, I really wanted to thank Mr. Buckland. He's basically been able to move a lot of projects that have been sitting for a long time. The master plan obviously is a critical piece. Tremont Nail, I spent 4 years chairing the committee for the Tremont Nail. We weren't able to get anything off the ground. We couldn't get through, Board of Selectmen at the time. Now it's really good to see that they're looking at the housing, portion as well as an initial piece. And I'm very happy with it, and I'm very happy for what Mr. Buckland's been able to do. Also, I don't think we mentioned that I think the Escape the Cape has moved to the property on Makepeace's property on Tahona Road and Thompson Market Road there. And I believe it's going to be June 10th, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
And Serpent had their annual meeting. I'll go over that when I get back later.
All right, thank you. Mr. Scasiotti.
All set.
Ms. Whiteside.
I don't think I have any liaison reports, but I do have one announcement about a special meeting that this board will be having next Monday at 10:30 a.m. at the Onset Bathhouse, Onset Avenue, for the signing of the 99-year lease of the Onset Bathhouse with Buzzards Bay Coalition, Inc. We expect to have dignitaries other than ourselves present. Well, no, we're
I don't
dignitaries.
consider myself to be a dignitary. but
Okay. Anyway, so we are meeting on Monday, but then we will also be meeting on Tuesday.
All right, great. All right, so I had a little conversation with the sewer chairman today, actually, and we discussed the situation with Wareham and Onset, and apparently they are now willing to come on board and give us that information. However, that's a thing that we have to put together, Derek. The town has to put a municipal agreement together with them. So we need to put that on your radar, and let's start working on that so that we get an agreement in place. They're going back to Ty and Bond now to try to get them to finalize the plan. It seems that there are still a few issues relevant to what the actual cost of operating the plant are, i.e. What part of the project that Ty and Bond was putting together, if you remember, when we left it, when we were commissioners. So they're going to start pushing that forward, and I'm kind of on them to do that because I want to get this over with and done and get everybody on this water rate thing instead of, it's actually going to be better for everybody in the long run. And I want to see it happen, and I'm heavy on it, and we're going to keep going. And I really appreciate the chairman's help, because he's pretty gung-ho about getting it done, too. And now that we have a sort of a verbal agreement in place, we need to get that written one in place, and we can keep going. Okay?
Great.
All right, let's see, what else? Authorization to sign bills, we have none, right?
Correct.
All right, let's, approval of minutes. You have a whole bunch of them.
I do. At the bottom. Okay. Anthony, you were absent on this one, so I move that the board accept the minutes of the meeting of May 9, 2017,
Okay,
as written.
do I hear a second? Alan, you have to second this.
Second,
All right, motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Slavin. Roll call vote, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes. Mr. Scasiotti, abstain. 3-0-1.
The next, the May 23rd ones, all were present, so I move the acceptance of the minutes of the meeting of the Board of Selectmen from May 23rd, 2017.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Roll call, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes?
Mr. Slavin.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes. Mr. Scasiotti?
Yes.
Yes, it's 4-0-0.
Okay, May 16th, Mr. Tropiano, you were absent. Make a motion that we accept the minutes of the meeting of May 16th, 2017.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Let's go.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. I heard him first.
Yes.
Roll call vote, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
Yes.
Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
And I abstain, so it's 3-0-1.
Okay. And the next one that we have, everyone was present, so April 18th was the meeting date. I move that we approve the minutes of the meeting of the Board of Selectmen for April 18th.
Do I have a second?
2017.
Second.
Second,
All right, motion made by Ms. Whiteside, seconded by Mr. Scasiotti. Roll call, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes, 4-0-0.
All of these need to be signed by Mr. Slavin, so they will be in the office.
And when he comes back,
Yep.
okay, no problem. Is there anything else to come before the board this evening? I'll have a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
So made,
Motion made by Ms. Whiteside, will you second?
yes.
Seconded by Mr. Slavin. All in favor, roll call, Ms. Whiteside.
Yes.
Mr. Slavin.
Yes.
Mr. Scasiotti.
Yes.
Mr. Tropiano, yes, it's 4-0-0. Thank you, Wareham. Have a great week.